What is going on? What's going on is getting to market. We're on episode 8, and I'm Nate here with John. How you doing, John?
I'm good. Are we really on 8, or do you just want to rhyme your name with the episode number and want that to be the case?
We're only ever on episode 8 from now on, so I
Oh,
can do the rhyme.
it's 8 and
It's
8 and
episode
8.
8 from here on.
Cool.
It's like how I'm forever 30.
Me too.
Today's episode, I think, will be a fun one, but before we get into the nitty gritty of the topic at hand, how's your week going?
My week is going okay.
Yeah.
I typically, my week starts out, I've done this to myself for years and years, where my Monday, Tuesday are brutal and I have 500,000 meetings. And then, then it kind of tapers off. And it tapered off a little bit earlier than expected this week, or earlier than normal, I should say, this week. So that's been nice. Getting a few
Oh,
things done.
kind of want to trade with you because I feel like my Wednesday, Thursday are pretty brutal,
Hmm.
but I feel like I would rather it be Monday and Tuesday. I feel like you can get a lot of like stuff done on those later days of the week
Oh,
that kind of like sets you up for a better next week.
yeah.
But
Friday afternoon is a good time for me to get things done, but up until then, it's a little chasing. But
you know what's funny about that is I for whatever reason, the culture at our current area of spot of employment, I feel like there are more Friday meetings than I'm used to at other orgs. Like normally,
hmm.
you can count on having some like non-meeting time on Fridays, and here, less the case, I feel like.
Well, I block off the last 3 hours of Fridays to
Yeah.
get things done, and I feel like people
Yeah.
usually do that. Like, oh, it's because you're off doing whatever you feel like doing. And like, no, that's when I'm actually doing work. So then I have to. I get defensive and I send emails and messages at 4:30. I'm still working,
You
guys.
mean you
Guys.
you schedule them to go out during that
Yeah,
period so people
exactly.
still believe your
Exactly.
ruse? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
almost had you.
Today's topic, John, is politics, and I believe you're pretty close to the same. Like we're very close, born the same year, I think.
Hmm.
Um, starting with the 2004 presidential election, who did you vote for?
Oh, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to kind of go through.
Yeah, we're going through your election by election.
I do remember voting in 2004 and being in the like our commons. Like I was in college
Yeah,
then, and so
same.
just being in the common area, and it was funny being like, oh, like this is what being an adult is like.
The real politics of our topic today, although we really should have an episode. Let's see who you voted for. Is the idea that in any size org, I don't think you can get away from politics in the sense that we're talking about. The idea that to me, and maybe we have different definitions of politics. Um, I'll start the definition because I was a poli sci major in college. Brag.
That's how you got into
That's how I
marketing.
got into marketing. The definition one of the professors gave one time was politics is who gets what. And I think that kind of translates pretty well to the politics in the workplace. But one of the things I think is different to me is just like politics is the barrier to you getting done what you need to. Politics is like superfluous structure and personalities and functional kind of sign off things that are the things that you have to get through to get your stuff done. What's your definition of politics, John?
That's interesting because I think of politics more as a verb of like the thing you have to do when you're not aligned with the other people on your team. Maybe this is a
Oh,
naive way of thinking about the world,
okay.
but it's really like if we all agree on the same thing, politics wouldn't be an idea. I come at it with the perspective like we already have an agreed upon direction for what we're doing and where we're going.
Yeah.
And so the politics is the thing you have to do when those align, when you're misaligned, or those things you have to do when you're not necessarily rowing in the same direction. I hate that I just used that phrase.
How often do you say the term rowing in the same direction to your team? Is this something that they've got like a coin jar filled?
I don't know that I've said that phrase, but anyway, it's
It rolled right off your tongue like it's something you do regularly, so I believe it.
so simple.
Um, why we're talking about this is because I don't know that you can really get away from politics in our types of roles because they're kind of by nature so cross-functional, and the stuff that we're trying to do does require so many folks from different parts of the org that I I don't really know how you get around kind of dealing with politics at some level. For example, like figuring out and organizing like content for a sales kickoff for our product and all the different teams that had to be involved, just like the layers of both folks that need to get approved and like all the egos and personal interest in like the topics and things that folks feel like have been underserved in previous years or
Yeah.
need more emphasis. Um, it's a challenging thing, I think, to get that type of consensus. I don't mind it because I think to me there's a little bit of like game theory and um like gamesmanship in trying to get all these people on the same page. But I could see how this might be not your favorite thing about product management.
Not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. And actually there's nothing that is more
Yeah.
exhausting to me than this aspect of it. And it's not necessarily the collaboration, but just this idea of like, maybe even by nature of what I think politics is, of this kind of like verb of, having to fix when we're
Yeah.
not aligned. We don't all have the same end goal in mind. We're not all trying to serve that customer
Mm.
with what we're doing. And so it's just like this necessary fruit of or necessary behavior when we're not trying to do whatever it is we're trying to do for our customer, for what we're doing. So, like in our setting, if we're not all keeping that person and that company and that what we do in mind as the primary thing, and we're letting whatever other ego, whatever other kind of direction stuff we want to do in front of that, then you have to do these politicking things. And it's the most exhausting thing for me. There's nothing that takes more energy out of me than, doing that more and more and or having that be a big part of my day.
Sure.
I think about like the reasons why that happens, or kind of the settings from a PMM standpoint. Like, what are the triggers of political, like when you might need a party whip, so to speak? Like, what are the situations? Is there a pattern where you're like, well, if we're doing sales kickoff, we've got all these different things, we better start getting alignment and kind of starting that party whip motion? Are there other ones?
I mean, I think it's almost everything we do. There's very little where like even creating a messaging doc, like there's some other people that want some level of approval on kind of like what that messaging is and whether or not they
Hmm,
think it'll land. Um, and it goes all the way up to like the super cross functional stuff like
right.
launches and but my question back to you would be like you don't like it, but I don't think you can get to sticking around product management for as long as you have. I mean, you're not a young man, John. And you look a little unwell, but you can't stick around that long if you're not good at it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do that's effective in trying to like get that as you love to put it, folks rowing in the same direction?
I used to have this board up over here. I'm pointing, but up in my office, I suppose that all it said is vision, vision, vision. Like, do we know what we're doing? Do we know where we're going? What is this thing? What is this thing? What is this thing? And so it gets into a little bit cheesy of like mission, vision, values, and that sort of stuff. But I hold that stuff in high regard as super important. For like, if we know where we're going, then we've all agreed on that. Like, it has to be a thing we've come together on. But if we all know where we're going, then anytime these misalignment things come up, where I would perceive it as like, now I got to go off politicking to get people to do their thing. We can just go back to like, hey, remember we agreed on that thing? And like,
Yeah.
let's talk about where we might have a difference in opinion for how we execute against that thing. But are we still going towards that? And then a lot of times I find out one of the ideas, and it can be mine too. I don't think, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but like, you hold the ideas up to that thing you agreed on from a vision standpoint, and the right action to do comes out of that. Like, yep, okay, that's a better idea. That's the right thing to do. I was wrong. Cool. Let's go in that direction. It almost takes the individual out of it, and just like, we agreed on that, we go back to that, and that seems to be working. I don't know if that would do anything from a kind of your perspective of how to go around. Hey, we got to agree. We got to find out. Like, you're bringing up approval chains and people wanting to be a part of the process. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to be effective in that. So I just kind of go back to, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going?
But your description of that kind of like Ted Lasso shit, you don't enjoy because that part I do feel like
I love that.
you actually
Yeah, that
enjoy.
part I
Yeah.
very much. And I would rather,
Yeah.
I would welcome a conversation where we challenge the vision together and come out with something different and polish it and do something. That's, disagreeing is different from politicking to me. And we should
Yeah.
have an idea of what we want to do and challenge it, and it be a shared idea. If one person's just telling you what to do, um, that's a different situation. And it's just like, this is what you have to do, and because I said so. Like, well, okay.
That's funny. I enjoy the process of like finding the argument that pulls someone around to my point of view. Like that challenge of like I'm not you, but I have to figure out what it is you're wanting out of this, and I need to like, the whatever the dumbest version of chess or checkers is, like figure out those moves to get you in alignment. I like that challenge and don't mind it. And it is sometimes like to me, I don't necessarily need to be bought in on like the grand vision piece. Like I don't need the hearts and minds part of that. To me, it is like the more interesting part is the like tactically speaking, how do we get this person, this person, this person so that they're on our in our corner, so we can get this thing done. And you tell me what it is we need to get done, and I'll like get folks behind it.
Do you like being on the side of kind of creating that idea, kind of bringing the hearts and minds, or just like, get me out of there? When we're ready to go do something, I'll get the people ready to go.
I I think what it is as I'm getting older, I'm getting more confrontational, and so I don't mind the confrontation piece. All right, John, we are nearing the end of the week. You have a lesson learned?
Lesson learned. What did I actually learn this week? So I was talking to my brother earlier today, and he said, well, as of noon today, we're closer to 2050 than we are 20 or the year 2000.
Oh,
And exactly, that's all I said back is, why would you even share that? And so then my response is to share that with everybody else here. So we are now officially closer to 2050. And it made me thinking about what I did in the year 2000 with the changeover. And I'll be honest, I both thought this is stupid that everyone's freaking out. Nothing's going to happen. And then I was also like, I remember being in my buddy's basement, which is like, the group of us hanging out for New Year's, and thinking like, yeah, but maybe this could get weird. And so that's what I was thinking about. But yeah, that's what I learned. We're closer to 2050 than 2000. You're welcome.
my lesson learned is so the idea that like the work you put into preparation does not equal preparedness. I'm in the process of onboarding a new member of the team, and I've done like onboarding, create the onboarding doc and tried to set as much stuff up as I could for this person. But truthfully, kind of in the way that I like to onboard as a new employee is to like fumble around in the dark and find out the stuff that like I'm bumping my knee into or stepping on. And maybe not everyone likes that approach. I'm kind of like imposing sort of what I like about a particular type of onboarding process onto this person, but is it actually kind of preparing them for what they need to be successful in the role? And like, how can I join those two things so that it isn't just sort of my view on what the onboarding process should be like? And do I feel like he sort of has the agency to let me know the onboarding process isn't going as swimmingly as he would like?
That's a hard message to be like, hey, this is me trying, but it could suck. And you need to tell me, but also you've been here for 12 days and I'm your boss. Like, but seriously, let me know if it's not good and I'll help you out.
I think that closes us out.
Close this out. Good to see you. Love talking
Yeah.
politics. It's my favorite thing, obviously. We
Yes,
talk about
me
it all
too.
day, deconstruct it as much as we can. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody. Again, every Tuesday, new episodes get into market. We're on Apple Podcasts, and now we're on YouTube
We are.
and also LinkedIn videos. So you can come and find all the great content you want.
Yeah,
Thanks for
it's
listening.
basically like we're just missing Netflix.
I do have a note in my robot to find out what the penalty is for claiming fake sponsorships. And so just saying, hey, thanks
Yeah.
Netflix for the sponsorship. Is that going to land me in jail? I don't know. We'll find out. Either way, we really appreciate their sponsorship.
Yeah. Bye.